to a special episode of the Projection Booth. This is your host, Mike White. Now, if you listened to our Ego Fest 3 show that we recently put out, you know that I was up in FanExpo up in Toronto, FanExpo 2015, where I was hosting a pair of Q&A type sessions, one with Danny Trejo and the other with Orlando Jones. Fortunately, those were recorded. Our good friend Stuart Feedback Andrews recorded those with a minimum of feedback, at least the Danny Trejo interview anyway. The Orlando Jones did not record as well as it should, so just keep that in mind when you listen to that interview. The Danny Trejo interview, however, did record very well, so well that Danny and I, very loud, in fact, I'm very loud. I have to apologize for laughing and chortling and guffawing quite a few times throughout this interview, but Danny was quite a treat. There were several times where we were asking the audience for questions they were not audible, so I'm going to re-ask those questions, insert them into the interview, so it sounds like I'm some kind of big shot, but you'll be able to tell the difference, I'm sure, when I'm asking the questions of the audience. So, with no further ado, let's go ahead and play Danny Trejo, FanExpo 2015.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being patient. Mr. Trejo is here, and it gives me a great pleasure to introduce the man who spent 30 years now working in motion pictures, Mr. Danny Trejo.
Morning.
So 30 years you've been working in movies.
Yes, 1985.
Yeah.
First.
Runaway Train.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was an accident.
I wanted to tell me, you got into it from Eddie Bunker.
Yeah.
When was the first time you met Eddie Bunker?
Actually, the first time I met Eddie Bunker was about 1962. My uncle was buying a robbery from him.
Buying a robbery?
Yeah, Eddie used to plan different robberies, and he would sell them to people that, that did robberies. And my uncle was an armed robber, and there's a scene in a movie called Straight Time.
Right.
Dustin Hoffman, where
great movie.
Dustin Hoffman is actually going and buying a robbery from Eddie Bunker in a bar. Well, that same bar is where my uncle went in 1962 and bought the robbery, and he kind of said, well, who's going to be your backup? And my uncle said, my nephew.
Right.
So, and then he
How old are you at this time?
I don't know, about 18.
18?
Wow. 19, so I don't know. Yeah, it was, growing up as a kid in Los Angeles, it's a typical American family. Mm-hmm. That was the first time. The next time I seen him, it was in San Quentin, and I think in 65.
So just 4 years later.
Yeah, and then when I met him. I ran into him on the movie set of Runaway Train in 1985.
Right.
And it was funny because I was clean and sober in 85, and I got out of the joint in 1969, and I'd been working as a drug counselor and working as a, in self-help groups and stuff. And
by that time you had completely turned your life around. And
I got a call at 11 o'clock at night, and it was a kid that I'd been working with, and he said to please come down to his job and just support him, because 1985 cocaine was like running rampant in the United States and all over really, and especially on movie sets. It was like ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So he gave me an address to a warehouse in downtown LA. So I thought he worked in a warehouse, and I thought we were going to go. To the parking lot and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes on his break, and then after his break, he was going to go in and everybody was going to think I was his lover, and it wasn't. It was a movie set of Runaway Train. And
right.
I just thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. All these people were dressed like convicts and trying to be hard. All their tattoos smeared. That's all I remember. Like, oh shit! I'm sorry, man. This guy had a beautiful eagle on his back, and I kept looking at it and saying, "Oh man, you better get some better ink, buddy." And so we were hanging out. He was a PA, which is a production assistant, and we were just like hanging out. And this guy comes up and says, "Hey, do you want to be in this movie?" And I said, "What do I got to do?" He said, "Do you want to be an extra?" I said, "Extra what?" I don't know what he's talking about. He says, "Can you act like a convict?" And when he said that, I swear, it was almost like, this is your life. You know, like everybody's going to come. And I said, I'll give it a shot. You know, and I've been in every penitentiary in the state of California. So they gave me a blue shirt, and I took off my shirt. I have that big tattoo on my chest. And I'll never forget, this guy goes, "Wait a minute." I'm trying to figure out, what gang is that? You know? And he said, "Leave your shirt off." And then, this guy comes over and says, I know this guy. And I go, "Is this Trejo?" And I says, "Eddie Bunker, what are you doing here?" He says, "I adapted the screenplay." I didn't know what that meant. But he changed a lot of the stuff in the film, and they had hired him, and by this time he was a well-known writer, and so he said, "Danny, are you still boxing?" Because he saw me win the lightweight and the welterweight title up in San Quentin, and I said, "I'm training, man. I'm 38 years old. I don't fight no more." And he said, "We need somebody to train one of the actors how to box." And I said, "What's it pay?" Because they were going to give me $50 for acting like a convict. So he says, $320 a day. I said, "How bad you want this guy beat up?" You know? I'd have done it for another $50, you know. And he goes, No, you got to be careful. This actor's really, high-strung kid, man. He's already socked a couple of people. And I said, okay, I'll train him, but you got to tell him that, for $320, he can hit me with a stick if he wants. I couldn't believe And I started training an actor named Eric Roberts how to box for the movie Runaway Train. And the director saw me, and Eric was a movie star.
Right.
And
especially in 85. He was big.
In 85. And movie stars do whatever they want to do, you know what I mean? And so him and the director didn't really, see eye to eye, I guess. But Eric would do whatever I told him to do because he wanted to learn how to fight, So the director saw that, and he said, "You be in movie. You fight Eric in movie." He's a Russian aristocrat named Andrei Kozlowski, who was really an aristocrat. His grandfather wrote, like, the Russian national anthem or something. I don't know.
Jeez.
His father had pictures hanging in the Louvre. I thought the Louvre was the bathroom. The thing in Paris, the Louvre, it's a bathroom. Right. But he was. He says, "You fight Eric," and everybody started screaming, "He's not SAG! He's not SAG!" I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea what they're talking about. And then he says, "Make him SAG!" and leaned over and kissed me on one cheek and kissed me on the other cheek and walked away. And I told Eddie, "Look, Eddie, I'm going to train the kid for $320, but if I want to be kissing that old man, I want some more money." No, he's European. So me and Andre became very, very good friends. So we kiss.
I've always wanted to know more about the tattoo on your chest because for a lot of years, I mean, even in that first role, that was kind of like your signature. Who is that lady on your chest?
It was just a picture that we drew, me and a guy named Harry Super Jew Ross. And we're in San Quentin, and I wanted another tattoo, so he came with this. We drew this picture. Yeah. And it was it was his first tattoo. So
holy cow!
I wasn't going anywhere. So we started it in San Quentin, and then I got thrown out of San Quentin. I got sent to Folsom, and he had it half done. And so he had the outlines. He don't let anybody. It was kind of scene from West Side Story. Don't let anybody touch that tattoo. I won't.
No matter what occurs.
I was on the bus. He was on the dock.
Right.
So about 6 months later, he got to Folsom, and we did some more of it. And then there was a big riot in Folsom, and they sent everybody everywhere. I got sent to Soledad, and he was almost done, and he wanted to finish it. So I got sent to Soledad, and he went to Vacaville, and then about 6 months later, he came to Soledad, and we finished it. And actually, it was his first tattoo, so he became a really great tattoo artist. So he hated it. You know, like your first drawing when you're doing art. He hated it, and it made him famous. You know? Don't show that to me. Shut up.
Does she have a name?
God, whoever I'm with.
Oh, okay. There you go. Nice.
It's you, honey. Really, it's you.
I've got one more before I kind of open it up for some questions here. I've always been curious about your role in The Hidden, which was right around that same time.
Wow.
But I don't remember seeing you in that movie. I just remember hearing your voice.
Yo, hippie, what kind of dude are you? I mean, I heard that so many times. It was a movie that was a sleeper, that just one of those little movies that is still being showed. You know, and
that's a great film.
Great movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it's low budget, and they wrecked about 3 Ferraris. But they have one Ferrari that is like brand new, gorgeous, and then they have 4 that are like already wrecks. You know, They don't even have an engine. You know, so, but it's movie making, and all I am is in a jail cell. And it was funny that movie. I heard, yo, hippie, what kind of dude are you? Because the director told me, Daddy, yell something at the alien. You know, and what the hell are you yelling at an alien? But, yo, hippie, what kind of dude are you? And then he shoots me. You know? I guess he wasn't a hippie. You know. So.
All right, let's open it up for some questions real quick here. Who's got some questions for Mr. Trejo? All right, way back there. You're going to have to yell it out, and I'll repeat it. Yeah, you.
Mr. Trejo, you did Eat, you did Con Air,
yeah,
right? When you compare movies like that, you know, is one more appealing to you than the other, or is it all just work? Is it just another role?
It's kind of work, you know. It's kind of work. I had to, in order not to be seduced by the I guess the glamour or whatever of the film industry, you got to kind of like. It's work. It's like a painter, a plumber, a carpenter. That's what I do, you know. And so I don't really, you know, my agency chooses roles for. They don't choose them. They hand me like 3 and say, you know, which one do you want to do, you know, and you know, which one pays the most, and and where am I going, you know. So those kinds of things, and then But Heat was just, you know, God, man, that was like such a great movie. And then getting to work with Robert De Niro. When my son met Robert De Niro, he was like 9 years old, you know, and I had him on the set, and I says, Gilbert, this is Robert De Niro. Hey, Bob, this is my son, Gilbert. And Robert goes, hi, Gilbert. Swear to God, my son goes, you talking to me? He was 9 years old, and we were both. I said, Gilbert, you didn't see that movie. You know? He seen From Dusk to Dawn, but Taxi was a little. He goes, Dad, the Comedy Channel. You know, so and him and Robert became very, very good friends. You know, so. But and then Con Air. Con Air, you have to be careful with movies like Con Air because it's the biggest test in testosterone there is. You know, it's like, and they had every wannabe tough guy in Hollywood on that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And so everything was it's like I'm not a good sport. You know what I mean? And everybody on that movie is like, if you spit, somebody would spit a little further, and then you got, if you did a push-up, everything, and so it was like me and a guy named Benny Urquidez, who was a 3-time world kickboxing champion, 5-time world kickboxing champion, just unbelievable. He would, every lunch, he would like grab me and get me and go and we'd go to the dojo and sit by ourselves because I don't play well with others. So, but it was a great movie. I mean, it was an unbelievable movie.
I'm trying to remember. Was that you worked with Buscemi in that one? Had you already done Animal Factory at that point?
No.
Okay.
I actually gave Steve Buscemi because Eddie had shopped Animal Factory and we couldn't get anything done with it.
Right.
So he says, "Here, Danny, see what you can do." Okay, so I took the movie Animal Factory and I gave it to Steve, and I said, "Here, Steve, read this or I'll kill you." In an interview, it was so funny. He said that. He said, "Yeah." So Trejo gave me this movie, and he said,
"Right,
read it or he'd kill me." And then the narrator said, "What'd you do?" He said, "I read it."
Like, I'm really still sitting here.
And so he read it, and he says, "Danny, there's really nothing in this for me, and because he couldn't play the young kid. And
right.
And I said, no, Steve, we want you to direct it. And he got really excited. "Oh, wow, yeah, I'll direct it." And so the minute he directed it, then
Miramax?
The star, my God.
Furlong?
No, that's one of them. One of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and I can't remember his name.
Give me a hint.
The green guy in Spider-Man. Willem Dafoe. God. Thank you. I'm sorry, William. I'm sorry, Willem. I'm sorry. But he's a friend of mine, too, but sometimes you just drop blank. Yeah, and he was amazing in that. If you ever want to see some of Willem Dafoe's best work, you check out Animal Factory. It's a great movie.
Yeah, that was terrific. Yeah, the you going toe-to-toe with Malkovich in Con Air was definitely a highlight of that film.
Malkovich is funny. He is so funny. And then his humor is sick as hell. I remember he says, "Danny, what is the," because he's very proper, what is the word for rape in Spanish? And just joking, I said, "Amor." He thought it was the funniest thing he ever heard. I said, "Come on, man, it wasn't that funny, homie." That was funny. But there is no word. It's violate.
Right.
Violación,
So 85, you get into movies. Now, what's that like for you as far as, like, when do you finally realize I'm now a movie star, I'm an actor? And do you then go out and start taking acting classes, or are you just you?
I just, it was the first 5 years of my career, I'm still a drug counselor. I still work for Western Pacific Rehab, and I still do all the rehab stuff. It's my passion is talking to young people that are in trouble. But I played inmate number 1 for the first 5 years of my career. Right. I didn't know I had a career. I was making a lot of money. It was inmate number 1 and bad guy number 1, guy with tattoo. And so it was funny because the first time I was ever interviewed, this young lady, just fresh out of I guess interview school. I don't know. Aren't you afraid you're being stereotyped and typecast? I didn't know what she was talking about. I said,
right.
I don't know what do you mean? She says, "Well, you're always playing the mean Chicano dude with tattoos." And I thought about it. I said, "I am the mean Chicano dude with tattoos." Okay, somebody finally got it right. They're not putting brown paint on Brad Pitt. So I didn't. My first 5 years, I never even had a name. The first name I ever had in the movies was Art Sinella in Death Wish 4 with
Right.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
You know, so that was kind of cool. And then after that, I did a movie called Against the Wall. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of took off, you know,
Right.
blood in, blood out. And then we started getting names. You know.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever saw you was in Marked for Death.
Yeah, it was Steven Seagal.
Yeah, that was great.
He's all right. Yeah, me and Steve, I pulled him in on Machete.
Ah, yeah.
And he was really good at that, and I killed him. First time he ever died on screen.
So it's 1995. That's when you met Robert Rodriguez? Or had you met him before that?
Before Desperado.
Okay.
And I walked into his office to cast for Desperado, and he said, "You remind me of the bad guys in my high school." And I said, "I am the bad guys in here." Just hit it off, and he handed me a knife, and I started twirling it.
Oh, nice.
That's what we just did. I dropped it a couple of times, picked it up. He says, "Okay, well," my agent Gloria said, "Dude, what did he say?" I said, "I don't know. He gave me a knife." You know? And I don't know if he's handing everybody knives, but
Right.
but so and then we got it, and I went to Texas, and it's funny because while in Texas, we were in Del Rio, Texas, and Acuña, Mexico, across the border, and everybody from Texas goes down to Acuña, Mexico, to buy booze. You know, you can buy. Everybody in the car can get 2 bottles. The kids can get 2 bottles of booze. Mm-hmm. So you're back with 24 bottles of booze where you're, and so we're there. All my family comes down and to visit me and buy booze and
You got to have your priorities.
And my uncle says, "Who's that?" And my uncle Rudy, and he says, I said, "That's Robert Rodriguez, the director." And my uncle is like an older, you know, Mexican guy, kind of old, kind of gangster. "Hey," calls Robert, "the director." And Robert, young, he knows. The old guy called him. He comes over. They start talking, and then my uncle says, "Hey, say hi to your cousin." So Robert, we ended up second cousins, you know. So
oh, wow.
I said, "Okay, let's make that limo part a little bigger, Robert." And we've done we've done about 13 movies.
Yeah.
He has a TV station right now that I'm kind of the face of, el-rey-network, and
Right.
Also we were doing From Dusk to Dawn,
Right.
the TV series, which is awesome, you know. And then we're going to do something with Machete on that network, I think. You know, so.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When does Machete 3 start filming?
Oh, God.
Machete in space, huh?
I think we want to try starting something before the end of this year. See, and we don't know how we're going to do it, but that was, God, that was an amazing. You know what? I got to tell you, I would have loved that movie even if I wasn't in it. That's my kind of movie, man. God, when Robert said, "Okay, you're going to kill about 14 people the first 3 minutes of this movie," that's my kind of film. You know? I'm sorry. Don't take me to a drama. Whatever you do, I'll get us thrown out of the. My kids hated to go. Hi. So, but I love action movies. You know?
But you have been in Shakespeare. You were in Richard
Yeah.
Richard III.
Yeah, that was. I've never seen that. I want to see it. And then also I did a drama movie called Sherry Baby, that with Maggie Gyllenhaal. Mm-hmm. I got to go all over the world with that movie, and I hated it. Well, I didn't. It was just there was no. I was like the good guy. It's the first time I ever played the good guy, the guy that after she'd been just abused and used, and I was the guy that helped her, and so it was kind of like I kept making up scenes like I'm banging on a motel door, and I told one of the stunt guys the next door, open the door and say, "Hey, hold it down, and we'll fight."
Trying to throw some action in there.
No, Lori Collier was the director. No, Danny. Come on, here's a little flavor.
Now tell me, what's Trejos-Tacos?
That's a restaurant that I'm opening up probably the end of September. Wow. It's going to open up right on La Brea between Pico and Olympic in Los Angeles. And then we're opening up. Well, we're opening up right now. We've got a deal for about 5 of them, so we're going to try to put them all over. It's going to be a lot of fun. Awesome.
Yeah, I got to.
Mary, let's tell Ash. Ash is the guy in charge of the restaurant, so we're like.
I got to tell you, I was very surprised when my wife got her AARP magazine, and I opened it up, and there's a picture of Danny Trejo and his dogs, and Danny's sitting on this huge chopper. Have you seen this? This is great.
Well, this is cool. My dog, I have this is a pit bull. Okay, this dog, little, I don't know what the hell he is, but we call him John Wesley Harding, beats the shit out of the pit bull, right? That's nothing. We have a little Chihuahua, okay, that chases them both. You know, so everything's backwards at the house. But I have about 5 dogs, and I'm a big animal rescue advocate, and I just love dogs. They're like just so cool, and they're really our responsibility because they were all happy running around naked, shitting anywhere, and we brought them into our camp, domesticated.
With your role as Tortuga on Breaking Bad, did Vince Gilligan offer you a copy of the bust of your head?
Yeah, you know what? There's a couple running around here that people are sending me. That was a fun. Actually, I remember my agent calling me and says, "Danny, you want to do one of Hollywood's first?" And I said, "What?" He says, "Cross the desert on a tortoise." I said, "Boy, it must be a pretty big tortoise."
Wow.
No, well, it's just your head. I just thought it'd be so. That wasn't. It was actually a. And so that episode did so well that we did they called me back in 3 weeks or something. We did the prequel, so that was great. Yeah.
You said you were going to do a show for Machete. Is that going to be on Netflix or is that going to be over on El-Rey?
Either. I'm not sure. I know the el-rey-network is thinking about doing something, which is Robert's network. Robert Rodriguez has his own network, and it's really kind of I really enjoy watching that stuff. A lot of old movies. Whoa!
You can't see Dolomite anyplace else other than there. That's great. How many times have you died in the movies? Because I
don't know, but I got even in Machete. Yeah, and I got the kids Jessica Alba and
nice,
and that was I kept messing that one up. Sorry, Robert. And then it's funny. I had a love scene with Amber Heard in Machete Kills. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you know Amber. It's just go to hell, gorgeous, this beautiful girl, right? And her husband Johnny Depp, she's so pretty, but it was funny because we had this love scene, and so Robert yelled, "Action!" and "Action!" and then, "Amber, why are you laughing?" "Because Danny won't stop saying, 'Thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus.'" So we had a lot of fun.
What was it like working with Gina Carano on In the Blood? Did she teach you any MMA moves?
We did that in Puerto Rico. How was it? Wow, awesome. but she's I'm a big MMA fan anyway, but she's really when you work with professional fighters and you have a fight scene with them or something, it's really easy because they know what they're doing. When you work with an actor and you got a fight scene, a lot of times you're in trouble. Okay, well, put up your left hand. No, your other left. But usually they know what they're doing, and so it was really a lot of fun. And she's absolutely gorgeous anyway.
Now, I feel like the real Machete can be bad and get the girls.
He kills the bad guys and gets the women.
Where's my wife and daughter?
That's so me right there. And it's funny, it's, a lot of the people, I stay in touch with them all the time. And when we did little Carmen from Alexa Vega from Spy Kids. Mm-hmm. She was screaming at Robert, "Come on, Robert, give me a job. I want to be in Machete Kills." And Robert says, "Alexa, it's a grown-up movie." "I'm 25 years old, Robert." You know, but we still think of her as being 12. Right. You know, and so when she comes out in her outfit and says, "Uncle Danny, look what I'm wearing," and go like on me and two of my, "Oh my God, don't go!" And she had to be up against, Michelle Rodriguez, Sofia Vergara, Amber Heard, and she nailed it. I mean, she was wow, she was awesome, man, and really, really good friend. Now she's going to be on Dancing with the Stars. Her and her husband. I think it's the first time that they've ever done that. Her and her husband are going to be on Dancing with the Stars, so that's kind of cool.
What was it like working with Nicolas Cage on Con Air?
That was cool. Nick was cool. It was funny. If you want to see Con Air, when next time you look at it, when we all just crashed the plane and land the plane and Malkovich says, "Muchacho, go to the tower." Well, I was 165 pounds when I was supposed to have ran to the tower. It was supposed to be an hour and 45 minutes in movie time, but in real life, it was about 3 weeks.
Right.
And I was in the desert. We were in the desert in Wendover, Utah, and the only cool place on the set was the workout trailer. So every day I'd go to the set and I'd be on hold, so I just work out. Right. So if you look, when I yell, "We got company," I was almost 180 pounds. So everybody was yelling, "Wow, what was in that trailer?" And they didn't really want me to take off my shirt, but come on, it's like, I'm buffed. So I was, "Hey, we got company." I started waving my shirt, So it looks really funny.
First off, congratulations on 46 years sober.
Oh, yeah, 47. Yeah, thank you.
What was your most memorable location for filming, and why?
You know what? I got to tell you, it's not just because I'm here, but I was in Prince George, Canada. And it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. It was like unbelievable. And me and this girl, we had rented a car, and we were going up a road. I just never forget, we're going up the road. And all of a sudden, mooses, they look big like on TV. But in real life, these things are huge. And it's in the middle of the road, and women sometimes say the dumbest thing. She goes, "Shoo it. I'm not trying to be funny, but have you ever seen a moose? They're this tall at the shoulders. Right. And this guy's got a head, and I said, "Shoo it my ass." I'm not even going to honk at it. We will sit here till it moves. And he just looked at it and walked, and we just take your time, old guy. Yeah, I think it was massive, but it was really a beautiful, beautiful spot. And first time I'd ever seen like a righteous whiteout. I mean, just snow so much that you couldn't see. I'd never seen that, and it was beautiful. But we did a movie called Reindeer Games up there with Ben Affleck. It was a lot of fun. And Charlize Theron. I love teasing her because she had on a little short skirt and nylon stockings and high heels, and we had on regular clothes and a parka and stuff. And I would love standing by her all the time going, "Oh, they're treating us actors so bad. Get away from me, Jenny." With her little nylon. She's a trooper.
What was that like working with Frankenheimer on that one?
He's awesome. I've known John for a long time. That's who I did Against the Wall with John Frankenheimer. So, and he was like a yeller. He's "God damn it, this is my shit." And I'd always set him up because he had friends that would show up on the set, and he did not allow pictures. He just didn't allow pictures. And his friends, I seen all his friends with cameras, so I said, "Hi, yeah, would you like to take a picture?" And, "Sure, oh yeah." And who's taking pictures? Your friends. God,
You've worked with so many great actors. Who would you still like to work with?
any of the gorgeous women that I've worked with before. Just give me who you got. I don't care. It's like they all treat me pretty good, and we all get along. So I just enjoy the work. I just finished a film called The Ridiculous Six with Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah,
God, he's funny, man. He's funny, and so we had a blast there. And it's funny because my little cousin's. He's done 36 years in the pen straight, right? And he calls me. So I was on the set, and I was talking to him from Ironwood Penitentiary, and he says, I says, hey, yeah, I'm working with Adam Sandler. Oh, I like that guy, man. Adam did a Big Daddy, or I forget what it was, something about a little kid. And so
Big Daddy.
He was telling me about it. So I said, wait, Adam, come here. Hey, come here. Like, Adam came out and says, here. So he starts talking to my cousin, right? Oh, yeah. Oh, 36? Yeah, I did 36 years. I know the comedy. And I'm here, and I might get out. And, yeah, I sure wanted me. Okay. And so gives me back the phone. And I said, Adam, he'll do anything I ask him. I want to be in your next 2 movies. Okay. So he's a good guy.
Who's the toughest son of a bitch that you've ever fought on screen or off screen?
Like all the actors that no karate and no karate and no boxing and no all that crap. They kind of shut up when you mention Chuck Norris. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because Chuck, I did a couple of episodes of what was his Walker, Texas Ranger, and he was awesome. And then I did a movie a long time ago called Maniac Cop 3.
Oh yeah,
and he was in that. And I'm looking. The first time I ever seen him, he's not like a real big guy, and his shoulders are this big, and I'm like. Because he fought as a lightweight, so that's 137 pounds. So I'm looking at him, I'm not bad with him. I can sling him, and I'm looking at him, and him and his dojo guy are training, and all of a sudden this guy jumps up, spins around, hits this bag, and the sensei goes, it's a little slow. Mr. Walker, could I have a Chuck? Could I please have an autograph? So he's like the real deal. I would say he's probably.
What was it like to work with Rob Zombie?
Rob Zombie is like awesome. I love Rob. He's like he's just cool, and he's a perfect. Left over from the 60s, 50s, 70s that just hasn't come out. He's still there, but he's so cool. He does such great movies, and one of my favorite movies. I did a movie called Blood In, Blood Out a long time ago, and it was kind of first movie like that. I've always loved it because they portrayed the 3 Hispanic kids, and they didn't just show them all as being bad, one's a cop, one's an artist, and one's a leader of a gang, but it was I just love the story, and it was a Taylor Hackford, so he was cool. Yeah.
What's the most fun you've ever had on a movie?
Well, I would have to say when I was doing Spy Kids, that was like the most fun of all. It was like amazing, and working with Daryl and Alexa there's unbelievable kids, and everybody that talks about Hollywood kids, it has nothing to do with the industry. What it has to do with is the guidance that they're getting. And that's all. That's just all. Because Alexa was like a little movie star, but the minute the director would say cut, she would go get one of her little brothers and sisters, and it would be her turn to hold the baby, And I watched her mom, and her mom was like, was on her, And then I was with Daryl one time, and Daryl wow, everybody from Spy Kids and knew him, and we were walking with his brother, and he comes to me and he says, Danny, stick with my brother, okay, because I don't want him to feel bad. And I thought, wow, that was cool. So me and his brother hung out, and all the little kids were running into Daryl, so he would introduce his brother right away.
It's nice to see a Mexican like you and George Lopez together. Are you ever going to do something like that again so my kids can watch?
I hope so, man. That was like so much fun. They canceled that episode, that series, but we'll probably do another one, and George's a really good friend of mine, and he's been around for a while. He's funny as hell, so you just keep plugging away and see what comes up. But I love the business. I know there's a lot more. It's a lot more diverse now, ethnically diverse than it used to be, and it's getting pretty pretty even. So thank God. Any other question?
I want to know a little bit more about your drug counseling. What do you tell kids to inspire them to stay off drugs?
Let me say this. One of the tough things about talking to kids is, first of all, you have to get their attention, which is impossible because they have none. And then you got to keep their attention, which is impossible because of number one, they have none. And then you have to show them that you're cool, and that's impossible because if you're 10 years older than them, you're just not cool. You lose your cool at 10 years older. Right. And then if you're and then you deliver your message. My message is, stay away from drugs and alcohol, and education is the key to anything you want to do. Well, anybody can deliver that message except for 1, 2, and 3. You see, that's all. Well, the gift that I've been given is that the minute I walk onto a campus, I have their attention. Not Danny Trejo per se, but the guy from Spy Kids, the guy from Dusk to Dawn, the guy from Con Air, the guy from Heat. That guy has their attention. Right. Machete got their attention like that. You know what I mean? And so it's easy. I mean, I've had principals and teachers come up and say, you know what? You've got all the kids in here that don't even come to these assemblies. And I'm under no illusion that it's just Danny Trejo. It's all them people combined. And so they tend to listen. They tend to listen, and especially somebody that says, hey, this is people always ask me, is weed a gateway drug? I don't know. I just know that everybody that I knew in the penitentiary that was doing hard drugs started with weed. But it doesn't mean that you might, or but I don't know. But that's just a fact. Right. And that's all I tell them is facts. Facts are you break the laws, you get in trouble. And when they're listening, they hear it. Mm-hmm. The biggest problem is 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. How often do you get people now walking up to you and giving you Snickers bars?
All the time. That was funny. Hey, Danny, because a Super Bowl commercial is like a holy grail to an actor. It's unbelievable. More people watch the Super Bowl than the Oscars, and more people watch the Super Bowl than even people that don't like football watch the Super Bowl to see the commercial. So when she said, Danny, we've got a Super Bowl commercial, I thought, wow, I just hit the roof. Oh, awesome. She goes, one problem. I said, what? She says, you're going to be Marcia-Brady. I says, what? And then she told me what they were going to pay me. Oh, Marcia. I'll be that girl.
Did you have to put on the dress and all that? Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever be in an Expendables film?
You know what? I talked to Sly, and he said, yeah. They even had posters of me on the Expendables. But then okay, it's okay. Mm-hmm. So, and then Robert Rodriguez says, you can't be in the Expendables. Why? He says, because Machete is not expendable. Oh, somebody right here.
Kind of contrary to that earlier question, what's the most difficult shoot that you've ever been on?
You know what? I did a film while I was doing Machete called Predator. And we did it in Hilo, Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And Hilo, Hawaii is basically a live volcano. And it's all volcanic rock, the whole thing. So everything grows on top, and it's muddy and it's rainy. So everybody was falling and slipping, and it's bad for the actors. But think about all the guys carrying all the equipment, and they were all fall. Everybody had busted up knees. My stunt guy, Norm. Right, Mora. Every morning he would put elbow pads and knee pads on me. And I'm the only one that didn't have like busted up knees, and because actors get like real, oh no, that'll ruin my look. I'd rather ruin my look than my knee.
Will you be doing any more shooting in Ontario soon?
I'd love to. I know they're starting to do a lot more up here, and I've done quite a bit of stuff in Vancouver, so I'd love to see what comes down. There's somebody way over here.
What was it like being in the Muppets Most Wanted?
That was awesome. That was so awesome. That was that was so. While I was doing the Muppets, it's kind of a sad story, but it's really funny. But I don't know. My mom passed away while I was doing the Muppets. I was in England, and my beautiful son Gilbert. It was his birthday was March 8th, mm-hmm. and he called me on his birthday. I called him and I said, "Hey, Gil, what's up? What are you doing?" And he had went and picked up my mom on his birthday and took her to breakfast. So I was talking to my mom for about 20 minutes. And blah blah blah. We talked and all right, Mom, I'm cool. And so wished Gilbert a happy birthday. And then my mom passed away on the 12th. So if Gilbert hadn't have picked her up, I wouldn't have been able to talk to her. So we talked, and she passed away. I was getting ready to come back, and my secretary Mary said, "No, don't. We took care of everything. We got everything taken care of. Don't worry, man. Finish your job. Just finish. You'll just be in the way, And so my assistants, everybody took care of everything, I finished the movie, and I just when my dad passed away, I just froze up. I just stuffed it, all of it, and just took care of my mom and took care of all the business. My mom passed away. I just stopped. Everybody would come up and go, "Danny, it's all right. It's cool. It's okay." And I could see my mom going, "Screw you. There's no way you're going to be that way with me." And I was just really hard. And then all of a sudden, the guy with Kermit came up. And Kermit, because those puppet guys, they won't talk to you if they got the puppet. It's like the puppet will talk.
Oh, yeah.
And Kermit goes, "I'm really sorry, Roger, Mommy, Daddy." Goes like this. I ran to the bathroom. Kermit followed me, and we stood in the bathroom. She was so, you don't understand, Kermit. She wrote to me all the time. I was in prison. The guy with the puppet didn't know what to do. But, that was so Mom's got to me like always.
What was it like working on Sons of Anarchy, and is there any added pressure for you working on an established property?
There's no pressure, because, I'm not Charlie, Charlie was the lead on that, and he was awesome. By the way, all those guys were like just beautiful. Those guys were unreal. There's going to be a couple of spin-offs, I think. I think the Mayans are going to spin off that, and so are the what is it? The First Nine, which is, they want to do that, which is an unbelievable, it's just going to be, because that was a great series, and I loved working on it, and it was, Romeo was cool, it was a lot of fun, What time is it? We did any more?
That's good. I think we're out of time, actually, so. All right, everybody, let's give it up for Mr. Trejo.
Thank you. And I want to invite you all to the grand opening of Trejos-Tacos. I know when it's going to be. I think the end of September. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Vengo del machete, respeto a mis viejos. No cruzo paredes, pero rompo espejos. Salida de un filme como Danny Trejo. Tú no sabes nada, te asusta tu reflejo. Yo soy caliente como los conejos. Estamos juntos aunque estemos lejos. Impactante, casi perplejo. Me fui para volver y regresé ileso. La vida es una cosa, no es de fácil manejo. Manjares de frutas, vino también queso. Suspenso en las líneas de cada verso. Cerramos esta escena con un beso, papi.
Entonces pásala bien y llévala leve, no te metas con él. Es un pelado duro, es Danny Trejo, my man. So watch out, Danny Trejo, my man. En el pecho la mariaza siempre viaja con él. No necesita pasaporte ni permiso de la corte. En su mente sabe bien que tú eres el que va a caer. La vida vale nada para Danny Trejo. Es un cabrón duro, es un cabrón grueso. La pasa todo el día quebrando las leyes y siempre por la noche mata 2, 3 güeyes. No duerme, no respira, siempre sale ileso. Chuck Norris de Canadá le muestran respeto. Le sacan la vuelta, se cagan pa' dentro. Se quedan cabra con Danny Trejo.
Motherfucker with a heart of gold. Under his wing we could swing, we would never ever fold. Used to walk the streets of el barrio, sacándole chispas a todo el escenario. Good cop, bad cop, that's how we roll. We were so fucking good, we were legends to be told. He would talk in English y yo en español. And every time we partied, it was all night long.
Danny Trejo, my man.
Siempre sigiloso,
Danny Trejo, my man.
letal y peligroso.
Danny Trejo, my man.
Ten cuidado, está furioso.
Danny Trejo, my man. Danny Trejo, my man.
Danny Trejo, my man's got the feel. Danny Trejo, my man's got the soul. Danny Trejo, my man, give me a beer. We're gonna live forever, we will never grow old. Danny Trejo, my man's got the soul. Danny Trejo, my man, give me a beer. We're gonna live forever, we will never grow old.
Danny Trejo, my man. 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 Danny Trejo, my man.